morning.
Good morning.
Becky?
Okay, we're back on the record. I appreciate you now having this great relationship with my deputy and sharing with him your thoughts and your concerns. And they are also my concern. And I try my best, and I am going to do my best right now to make another announcement to everyone in the courtroom that you are not allowed to take any photographs of anyone on this jury. Their privacy is their privacy. And I'm not accusing that anyone has done that, but I'm asking you, do not aim a camera to anybody on this floor. You want to take pictures of the outside, that's fine. But please do not take any pictures when you're out in my lobby or any of the jurors. If any of those pictures that may or may not have been taken shows up on any social media, you will be facing contempt charges in front of me. Now, you've all been sitting here long enough, and I think you all know that I'm in the business. It's a serious matter, and this jury has a right to feel comfortable in their shoes. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will continue to ask that if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable, if at any point in time you have concerns, you please share them with my deputy, and he will relay them to me. Because I am here to make sure that you feel comfortable, as I know the attorneys want you to feel comfortable, because we want you to give us your undivided attention. And if at any point in time you want to address something with me in private, we'll certainly take the time to do that, okay? Are we ready to get back to work?
Yeah, Judge.
And who is our next witness?
That's Matt Zetz.
The other thing I forgot, did anybody see anything on the news, read anything, or hear anything?
No.
All right, thank you, folks. Come on up here. Put my glasses on. Sir, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth?
I do.
And your first name?
Matthew.
And Matthew, your last name?
Zetz.
Please have a seat and speak loudly. Oh, sure.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I know it's already been said, but I want you to make sure that the person in the last seat can hear you, okay? Would you indicate where you're employed?
I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And how long have you been a special agent with the FBI?
16 years.
You had some involvement in the investigation of the case that we're here in court on, is that correct?
I did.
What was your job at that time?
I was a digital forensic examiner, which examines computers and cell phones.
Computers and cell phones. Is there a little bit of a different, in general terms, sort of examination that you undertake when you're trying to examine forensically a computer versus a cell phone?
Yes, the devices are different, require different tools to examine the different pieces of media.
I can imagine certainly some similarities.
There are, yes.
All right. And did you, at that time, have an assignment with a particular group within the FBI?
I did.
What was that?
It's the Computer Analysis Response Team.
Computer Analysis Response Team. And at times, you go by the acronym CART?
We do, yes.
Okay. How long were you a member of the Computer Analysis Response Team?
10 years.
Did you have to undergo any training to be a part of the Computer Analysis Response Team?
Yes, there's a certification process.
Can you describe what that is?
Sure. There's the certification process to be a FBI forensic examiner entails a number of commercial classes that we have to take, as well as a number of classes developed by the FBI to show that you have the proficiency in order to successfully examine digital media, digital evidence.
All right.
The process takes about roughly 2 years to get through.
So it took you 2 years initially to become certified?
Correct.
And did you then have to undergo, for lack of better words, like maintenance, like continued recertification process as you stayed assigned to the CART, or the Computer Analysis Response Team?
Yes, there are annual proficiency tests where you that are issued by our headquarters, CART headquarters back at Quantico. Those tests come out every year, and you have to successfully complete those proficiency tests to stay certified.
And did you do that and maintain your certification?
I did.
And at the time you examined, did you examine April Millsap's cell phone in this case?
I did.
And at the time that you did that and you obtained some evidence that we're hopefully ultimately going to see, were you certified at that time?
I was, yes.
And you had maintained that certification continually, is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Have you testified in court before as a witness in this field?
Yes, I have.
Have you testified in state court?
Yes, I have.
Have you testified in federal court?
Yes.
Have you been qualified in state court and federal court as an expert witness in your field?
I have.
And what would you term that expert field to be?
Digital forensics.
Digital forensics.
As it applies to computers and cell phones. Yes.
All right. And in this case, did you apply that learning and training and I guess ongoing training to examine some digital evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Judge, I would ask that the witness be qualified in his field of expertise.
Would you?
No, Your Honor, we have no objection as long as he sticks to the field of digital forensics.
And the jury is to consider him as an expert.
But sir, were you part of the initial, say, law enforcement response on July 24th and 25th of 2014, out on the scene in Armada, helping investigate this murder?
I was not.
And where did you become involved? At what point did you become involved?
We became involved in early September 2014 when it was requested excuse me, that we take a look at the cell phones in question.
All right. And the cell phone we're talking about ultimately is April Millsap's phone. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you physically get possession of that phone?
We did, yes.
Okay. And we had previously marked, and for the jury's edification, Exhibit 2. May I approach the witness?
You don't have to ask.
Thank you. Sir, I'm going to show you Exhibit 2 It's an envelope that's already been opened, so I don't want you to tilt it the wrong way. Could you examine the contents of that? You recognize that?
I do.
Is that April Millsap's phone?
Yes.
And that's the phone that you conducted some examination of the contents of the phone, is that correct?
That is correct.
And I move to admit number 2.
No objection.
Where's your office? Is it Detroit? Is it Macomb County, Washington, D.C.? Where do you work?
It is in the federal building downtown Detroit.
Okay. And is that where you perform your analysis in this case?
It is.
And as it relates to April's phone, would you explain what you were doing in terms of taking a first look at this phone, second look at this phone, or for some specific something? What were you asked to do?
We were asked to take an additional look, exam of this cell phone, as it had been looked at by another agency. We wanted just another set of eyes to look at the device to see what was there.
All right. And I just want to make sure the jury, I hear you using the word we. When you say we, are you a part of, each time you say we, is it you and other members of the CART team?
In this particular instance, when I say we, I'm talking about myself and another forensic examiner in our lab by the name of Michael Young.
Okay. So he worked with you?
Yes, we did this work together.
So whatever you're talking about, you were a part of, personally?
Correct.
All right, I just want to make that clear. So you were asked to take a second look at the phone.
Yes.
And do you work directly from the phone itself, like that physical piece of that physical phone right there?
Initially, we have to power the device on. When we power the device on, we put it in airplane mode. Basically, takes the phone off the network.
And so, could a person make a phone call when the phone is in airplane mode?
No,
Could they receive a phone call?
they couldn't.
So it's off the network. There's nothing coming in or going out.
Correct.
So you did that in this case?
We did that in this case, and then used our forensic tools to basically make a copy of the phone, of the file system of the phone,
Okay.
that we could then further analyze.
So as you're performing your analysis, you're working from that copy of the file system of the phone?
That's correct.
In this case, as you began to look into the phone, did you have a particular date, in terms of looking at dates and items in the phone, that you were looking for?
In this investigation, or this examination, we had a date that we knew an event occurred, so we focused our examination around the date of July 24th, 2014.
Right. And as you began doing that, did you notice something that, for lack of a better word, piqued your forensic curiosity as you began looking into the phone?
Yes, we used a timeline analysis methodology when we looked at the files that were contained on the device, on the phone. What I mean by that, files are altered on the device as you use it. What we're able to do is use our forensic tools to basically sort the files by date, and then you can look at the files that were altered or files that were created on the date of July 24, 2014. So we focused our examination around those files.
And did you see something that particularly drew your attention?
Yes.
What was that?
Saw an image that looked like a screenshot.
Describe what a screenshot is, just so we have it.
When you're looking at your phone, if you have an iPhone, I believe you can do this on an Android device as well. I'm going to use an iPhone as an example. If you hold the home button and the power button down at the same time, it takes a screenshot of what you currently have, takes a photograph, if you will, of what you have currently on the screen.
Okay.
So we saw an image that looked like a screenshot.
You say it looked like a screenshot.
Correct.
Did you further examine that, what looked like a screenshot?
Yes, we did.
And did it turn out to be a screenshot?
It was not a screenshot that was taken by the user of the phone.
What was it?
It was a screenshot that was taken by the operating system of the phone itself.
And as you looked into that, can you explain what you determined was going on?
The screenshot itself was of a text message.
All right, and I don't want to hear the content of it. I'll get there.
So that piqued our interest as to why this screenshot would be there, as it appeared to be kind of an unusual circumstance for a user to take that screenshot, which led us to dig into the naming of that file.
And is that the, not as computer literacy, of course, naming a file? There's usually like a string of letters, numbers, and typically a period and a type of file. Is that what you're talking about by the naming of the file?
Correct. For instance, an image that, excuse me, that a user would take with their phone would typically start with the word image and then followed by a series of numbers and then .jpg for JPEG. That wasn't the issue. That wasn't the case with this screenshot, which led us to dig in to find out how it came to be.
And did you figure out how it came to be?
Yes.
What did you figure out?
As I mentioned, it was created by the operating system. An iPhone is what's called a multitasking device, meaning you can be running, you can have your text messages, you can have your web browser open at the same time, you can have your mail application open at the same time, and when you double click on the home button on an iPhone, it brings up all of your open applications, and you're able to scroll to the application you want, select that, and then it takes you to that particular application. Say if you were using your text message application, you wanted to switch to your web browser, double click, it brings up a pictorial image, it brings up on the display, it brings up multiple images of the screens of those open applications. You're able to select that application and go to it. This screenshot was created when, in order to make that happen, the operating system needs to take screenshots of all the open applications. So that's where this particular screenshot came from.
All right, I'm going to show you what I have shown the defense counsel, Mark, as people's proposal to the 10. Ask if you recognize that.
I do.
What is that?
This is the screenshot that we saw.
Okay. Your Honor, I would, and this is on obviously a direct paper, right?
Correct.
This is people's proposal to the 10, which we made, Your Honor.
No objection.
It's submitted.
That's that right up there on the screen now? I don't know how good of an angle you have.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So you see this, and there's a name at the top, right? Austin?
Yes.
And did you do anything to create this, or is this just a copy of what you saw?
That's a copy of what I saw.
Okay. Did you then continue looking at the other applications? Because this is a text messaging application or iMessage application, correct?
Correct.
Did you look at the other applications as they related to that date?
Yes. Once we saw this image, we looked for other images that were similarly named because these screenshots all start with the same initial naming convention. So we looked for other images that started with that naming convention on that date to see if we could find any other similar screenshots.
All right, were you successful?
Yes.
And was there one in particular that you were able to investigate and continue developing something of evidentiary value?
Yes.
What was that?
We saw another screenshot of what appeared to be some type of GPS application that appeared to show a track of some kind. However, it had no context because there was no map information associated. It was just an outline of the track. So that led us to dig a little further to find out where that image came from.
Did you determine where that image came from?
Yes.
And what was it?
Found that image was generated by a fitness application that was running at the time.
And I guess in general terms, being a forensic examiner, are there different fitness applications people have on their phones?
Yes, there's a number of different fitness applications.
Just in general terms, what are some of the things those fitness applications do?
Fitness applications are typically used for people who are exercising to keep track of their workout, keep track of the route that they either ran or biked or walked, how far that route was, how fast they were moving while they were during the workout, those types of things.
Fair to say some applications gather this information and others gather maybe some of the same but a little bit different, and maybe that accounts for the different sorts of applications?
Yes, they're different. They all collect different types of data. They all collect the same basic information, but it might display it differently.
Okay. So in this case, you found a sports tracker fitness application.
Yes.
Did you dig into that to find out if what you had seen, there was actually any data supporting that from that data?
Yes, we found that there was appeared to be data files from that fitness application that was appeared to be running during the time of this event.
All right. What did you do with those data files?
We weren't able to directly read the data files because they're in the proprietary format of the company that made that application. So through our office located in Copenhagen, Denmark, we have a representative at the embassy, and he has...
You're telling, so through our office that has a representative in Copenhagen, Denmark, you're saying that you see these files, can't read them, and now you jump to Copenhagen, Denmark. So go step back a little bit. Why Denmark?
This particular application is called Sports Tracker. Found that the Sports Tracker application was developed by a company out of Finland.
So this Sports Tracker application she had on her phone, the company itself is out of Finland.
Correct.
Okay. So I got a Finnish company. You've got some data that you weren't able to extract. Were you able to find the GPS coordinates related to that workout?
Not directly from looking at. We weren't able to read those data files.
Okay.
So we needed help from the company.
You needed help from the company.
Yes.
So now you're talking about Copenhagen, Denmark. You've got an FBI office or some sort of...
We have it's called a legal attache's office in the embassy in Copenhagen, Denmark, who has responsibility for the country of Finland as well.
Were you ultimately able to then establish contact with that company?
Yes, we were.
And what did you do in terms of those data files that related to July 24th? What did you do with those data files as it relates to that company?
We sent the data files to the company, encrypted. They received the data files and sent us back a text file that contained latitude, longitude, date and time information, and as well as speed in meters per second.
Okay.
For that last workout, which was around over 3,000 data points that we were given back.
You were given over 3,000 data points back from the company?
Correct.
The data that you sent over to the company in Finland, did you put in any data points, like I wandered on the trail here at this time or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Would it be forensically appropriate for you, in any sort of forensic circumstance, to find out something after the fact and try and reverse engineer, come up with evidence to fit the scenario? Would that make sense forensically?
No.
So in this case, you send the data over, they send you back GPS coordinates, I think you said, time, is that correct?
Correct. Date and time.
Date, and then I think you said speed in meters per second, is that correct?
That is correct.
And what did you do then with that information?
With that information, we were able to create an animation in Google Earth.
How did you do that?
Able to import that latitude, longitude, and time information into Google Earth to recreate the path that was taken during that hour and 3 minutes of that last workout.
Now, so you said recreate. What we end up with, the ultimate end product of what you did, would you, I guess, characterize it as an animation of the movement of the phone?
Correct.
Okay. And we're going to ultimately try to show that in a little bit. The animation as you initially had it created, was it moving at real time the whole time through?
I created the animation at double speed.
And why did you do that?
Purely for display purposes, because the track was moving at a walking pace.
Okay. And I mean, at any time, so you created double time throughout the entire animation.
Correct. All the speeds are relative to each other, are correct.
So it's not like at one point you're moving the speed up and down, correct?
That's correct.
And if we wanted, if we played it at half speed, it would be playing at real time. It'd be an hour or a little over an hour, right?
That's correct, yes.
Let's call it the tip of the animation, or the point of the animation.
Yes,
That moves at relative speed, is that correct?
that is correct.
And that is then put onto Google Earth using GPS points.
Yes,
When the jury sees it, there are a couple of other points that they're going to see in the animation. Is that correct?
yes, there are.
Do you recall there being some phone calls listed?
Yes, there were.
And how is it? Tell the jury how you included that so when they see the display, they know what they're looking at.
Added push pins to the track, basically like you would on a physical map. If you wanted to point out a location, you would go up and put a push pin on that. I did the same thing in Google Earth using push pins to show the particular time that those phone calls were made or attempted.
Okay. So those were phone calls that were made from April's phone, correct?
That is correct.
And those are then put into this animation based on the time progression of the animation, is that correct?
Based on the time that those telephone calls were attempted, yes.
Okay. And there's a couple of other pieces of information, is that correct?
That is correct.
There's a location of a text message, is that right?
Yes.
Is that what is depicted up here?
It's the time that this text message was sent is also plotted on that path.
And there's one other point that's plotted, correct?
That is correct.
And what is that?
As the location of that April's body was found.
So that's all going to be included in the visual depiction of what you found.
That is correct, yes.
But again, just so we're clear with the jury, the phone calls, the text message, and the location of the body, that is information you gleaned, except for the location of the body. You put those in there based on the time those events occurred.
Yes,
And the location of the body was a coordinate given to you by the law enforcement.
that is correct, yes.
Did your analysis of that fitness application and creating that animation, did it conclude at that point? Did you stop there?
No, did not.
What else did you do?
We also, at the time that we discovered this fitness application, that there was a fitness application running at the time, we alerted the investigative team that this fitness application was running and that there was potentially more information to be found. And when we did that, after we did that, we went out and purchased an iPhone that we could use for testing, to test these data files.
All right. Two separate issues. One thing is you alert other investigators who might be out in the field working on the case. Do you know if they followed up and went to places that are depicted in this animation?
Yes.
And that's from what you're told, correct?
From what I was told, yes.
And do you know if evidence may or may not have been recovered based on that animation?
Yes, there was.
All right, so that's one thing you did after finishing the animation. Another thing you did is you said you went out and got an iPhone, right?
Correct.
Was this iPhone something you already had at the FBI office, or how did you acquire it?
It was not. We just went to the Apple store and purchased an iPhone.
You purchased a brand new iPhone?
Brand new iPhone.
Did you register the iPhone to like your own phone number or some FBI number?
That phone did not have any service, any cellular service at all.
So it was not attached to Sprint or Verizon or something like that?
No.
Okay. And what was the purpose in getting a iPhone from the store? Why did you do that?
what we wanted to do was the data files that we could not read, that were proprietary, that we found on that phone that we ultimately sent to Finland. We wanted to make a copy of those files and then load it on this test iPhone, and with the fitness application loaded on the phone as well, to see how it would display.
Okay, so you take those data files that you were able to extract from April's phone that are associated with the sport tracker, right?
Correct.
And what did you do with them?
First, we loaded the sports tracker application from the App Store, the same sports tracker application. Once that application was loaded, we copied the data files that we had from April's phone and put them in the same file location on the test phone that they would be located as they were located on April's phone.
So you inserted files into the sport tracker directory. Is that
Correct.
the right word?
Yes, that is correct.
And when you did that, now the phone's not hooked up to Verizon or something, so you don't have cell service to it.
We had to put the phone on Wi-Fi purely to download the sports tracker
Okay,
application.
so you already had to do that to download
Once
that.
we did that, we took it off the network.
Okay. Once you input those files into the sport tracker directory, did you have to go back onto Wi-Fi then?
Yes, we did.
And would you tell us what occurred then?
Yes, we put the phone on Wi-Fi, opened the sports tracker application, and saw that those workouts were then available to us to view natively in the sports tracker application.
Using copies of files from April's phone onto this pristine iPhone, that's the word I'm going to use, you were able to see that workout?
Yes, we were.
Now, how is it you were able to see it? Describe what you see.
We were using the interface of the phone of the sports tracker application itself. It had a number of different options that you could go through. You could view the entire track overview of the workout.
Okay.
You're also able to see the speed profile throughout the whole workout, meaning how fast the phone was moving during the course of that workout. See the maximum speed, the average speed, those types of things.
The animation you create is something that the jury's going to see that there's movement. There's a typical blue line that's moving on a course. The Sport Tracker application on the pristine iPhone, the second piece of forensic work you did, do you see a static picture or movement?
It's a static picture.
Does that static picture, how did that compare to the completed animation? How did the two, at the end of it, when the whole blue line is drawn? By the way, is the other one blue or a different color?
I believe it's red on the sports tracker application.
All right, so the Sports Tracker application itself is red. When you've got these files and you did the animation, it comes out, it's blue.
Correct.
How did the end picture look in terms of the path that phone traveled?
The paths were the same.
Did you consider then that to be corroborative of the work that you had already done in terms of what you described and giving data to create the initial animation?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what I have marked. What's our numbers? 11? 11, 12, and 13. Before we play them, I'm going to ask you to describe them to the jury. Yeah. I'll take this is going to be the animation.
Sir, how do you define workout in this? I'm a little confused. How, do you know if I'm riding my bike? Do you know if I'm walking? Do you know if I'm running? Do you know if I'm lifting weights? What do you know?
There's no way to know what type of activity you're doing, whether you're on a bike or walking. I use the term workout because that is the term the application itself uses. For each finite time frame that the user uses this application, it creates what's called a workout. Whether it doesn't know if you're running or biking or...
So basically it's movement?
Movement, yes.
On top of movement, there's relative speeds, like perhaps at one point you're moving this fast, and at a later point in the workout, you're moving at a different speed.
Correct.
That information is gathered and captured.
Yes.
Different applications, only if you know. I mean, can you put in whether you're doing a biking workout or you're doing a running workout, maybe to help?
There are many different fitness applications. I know there's one called Map My Run, Map My Walk, Map My Ride, which are designed for those different types of workouts, but ultimately they all function very similarly in the fact that they're keeping track of location, time, and speed.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I have marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 11. Ask if you've actually seen that before.
Yes, I have.
And what is that?
That's a DVD containing the animation.
The animation. All right, and you actually looked at this disc prior to coming to court to make sure that that's what that is.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm going to show you what number 12, which is labeled on the actual disc itself, iPhone Video 1. Ask if you would describe to the jury what proposed exhibit 12 is.
That is a video of the test iPhone that we had that shows the multitasking capabilities of an iPhone. It shows the screenshots that would be made as you change from application to application.
And is that basically a visual depiction of what you described when you initially located that text that we displayed earlier?
It shows those types of images, yes.
And that's what you created a visual representation to ultimately show somebody else.
Correct. Correct.
So on 13 then, which is labeled iPhone Video 2, would you describe what People's Proposed 13 is?
That is a video, it contains a video showing the interface of the sports tracker application as seen from the test iPhone that we had.
So this, does 13, which is labeled iPhone Video 2, does 13 show that red path?
Yes, it does.
I'm going to move to admit 11, 12, and 13.
No objection, Your Honor.
They're all admitted.
I'm going to, I think I'll start this way. I'm going to move to play, or I guess publish, Judge, Exhibit 12, which is labeled iPhone Video 1. I'm going to have that played first. So iPhone Video 1.
We need to lower the lights or anything?
The jury can see it, it's fine, if they need, whatever they need.
Don't you see these? Sir, if at any time you need to step down, you may. Please speak loud.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This particular exhibit is a really pretty short one, and I'm going to have it played again so the jury can watch it again. Just again, please indicate what they're looking at.
All right, well, what we're seeing here is the home screen of the iPhone, and as it plays, it shows the various applications that are installed on the phone. And now, this, if you could pause it there, what we're seeing here are these images that are created by the operating system of the phone itself that shows the various open applications that are running at the time and how you would be able to switch between them.
So right now depicted on the screen center is new message. That would be a text message. If somebody had sent text messages on that phone, ever, the last one would be depicted there?
If that was the last message that was up at the time, that's what would show.
Okay.
And then just showing it, switching to that application, hitting the home button, switching to another application.
Now you skip past the sport one, of
Right,
course.
and just
We'll see that
displaying
in the
the
next
different-
video?
Yes, we'll see that in the next video.
Okay.
Again, that's just to show the multitasking capabilities of the phone and how those images are used
Okay.
by the device.
You can stay standing because we're going to go through a couple more. Now, the GPS, the animation, and the path depiction that we're going to see in a static image right now, some of what the jury is going to see, it might look like a person walked over or like through a wall or over like right through a tree or something on top of a building. Can you talk about that, at least give a frame of reference so they can understand what they're seeing?
They're seeing the GPS coordinates, the latitude, longitude that were reported by the device. That's really all it is the GPS locations. Now it may appear that they're going through a house or a tree, but it can be affected by the reception from trees or in a wooded area.
I guess the bottom line is this. Did you alter any of the data to make it look like somebody could walk on top of a building?
No.
Did you alter any data to say, wow, this data looks like they're walking on top of a building here, I better move the path over a little so it's on a road? Did you do anything like that?
No, not at all.
So what's depicted here is just
The data was on the phone.
All right, I'm going to play exhibit, what was the exhibit number, just so I'm clear? 13, which is iPhone Video 2.
And going into the sports tracker application. And this is the home screen, if you will, of the sports tracker application, kind of what you see when you first start it. And you can see this is the latest workout. That's the workout that we went into. And it's kind of the overview of that workout. What you see here is the route of the workout overlaid on a map, or a satellite image.
Did you put the map in there?
Did not.
Did the application itself put the satellite view?
The application, when it was on Wi-Fi, was able to then overlay the correct satellite image for those GPS coordinates.
Is that anything that you caused it to, say, try to find somewhere in the state of Michigan where that path roughly corresponds with a path and roads or anything like that?
No. This is just the data as it was on the phone.
Okay. There's a couple of other things there. I see duration, distance, average pace, average speed, max speed, and energy. Is that all information that the application output as a result of the data from April's workout?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and play it. Thank you.
What we see here, this is shows the speed throughout the workout and the altitude that the workout occurred.
So that's actually one thing we hadn't mentioned. I know I cut you off, but altitude is actually something else that may be captured by a fitness application.
Correct.
Somebody in the Rockies might be burning a different number of calories than somebody at sea level or something.
So this line is the altitude line,
Okay.
and this line is the speed line, and along our axis is the x-axis is the distance that was covered throughout this activity, and this axis is the speed in miles per hour, and over here is the altitude in feet. If you were wearing a heart rate monitor, another piece of data that the application could track. If you were wearing a heart rate monitor, it would also track that information as well. But in this case, it didn't appear there was a heart rate monitor being used. So what was done here is went into you're able to show the overview of the map, and it shows the route with the start point. And up here it shows the total distance covered and the duration and the speed. And what's happening, what you're going to see now is basically scrolling, if you will, through the satellite image to show the entire path in a more zoomed in state.
Okay. So it's a static image that you're basically recording as you're moving, like you just take your finger on the phone and move the
That's
map,
correct.
and you're just recording you're actually doing that.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to play now. I'm going to play now, and just so we're clear, I'm going to play it at the speed that Special Agent Zentz initially recorded it, which is at double speed, so it's going to be about a half hour long that this is going to be taking place. This is, okay, yeah, so this is Exhibit 11. It is going to be the animation, is that correct?
That is correct.
And I'll have you just at the very beginning, maybe start, just point out a couple things, and then you can sit down, and it's going to be a half hour long, so we'll let them watch. All right. Can you just point out a couple of things on here, just for frame of reference if they decide to watch this later? Well, one behind the top left corner.
Up here, what we see is this is the actual time at the time of the workout that was started. So it's 5:50 p.m. on 14. And this will continue to scroll until it gets to the end of the workout. The times that just keep in mind, the times that are displayed up in this corner are real times. Regardless of how fast or slow the animation is played, those times that show up there are the real times that along the path.
So it's sort of like playing a VHS tape on fast forward. It's playing at a faster rate, but the clock time is correct. So a second's going to...
When the animation starts, since I recorded it at double speed, you'll see the seconds ticking by twice as fast.
Okay. And down here we just have
This is the play of the track.
Okay. And this is a Google Earth image, and then we're going to see a blue line start to follow path, correct?
This indicator right here is the phone as it moves along the track.
All right, again, did you do anything to alter, to fit data, to fit anywhere within Armada or anything of that sort?
Did not.
All right, go ahead, Nancy. sense as we continue playing this, we see the phone moving at an approximate pace that's kind of been established.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do with any manipulation on your part in terms of moving the front of the cursor?
No, it does not.
What's causing it to move at that pace?
It's the calculation of the speed based on the latitude and longitude and time from one point to the next.
At different points, for instance, towards the end of the video, do we see the cursor moving at a different rate relative?
Yes.
Can you repeat that question? I couldn't hear it either.
Everybody's got to talk loud because my
I didn't hear your
video.
last question or the answer, sir.
The last question I asked was, towards the end of the video, does the cursor, does the front of the animation move at a different rate? And he indicated yes.
Thank you.
From your review of this case, as we continue to play this, do you recognize that to be the Macomb Orchard Trail?
I do.
And from the beginning of where the phone track started, do you recognize that to be Armada?
I do, yes.
still ticking off here, I'm wondering if they're stuck. What does that indicate to you in terms of this animation?
That the phone had stopped for a period of time.
Okay. Does it start moving again?
Yes, it does.
Special Agent Sense, as we're moving down the trail here, we can see some things in the top of the picture. Does the animation stop at that point, or does it continue past and then return to that point?
It continues past.
And returns?
It returns, yes.
Okay. So you're going to move past what's these push pins here at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Madam, may I get a little closer to the screen for a moment?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So in our time progression, as we're continuing to play this, have those phone calls already occurred?
They have not.
Has that last text already occurred?
It has not. Gene.
Yeah, I realize I might have blocked you.
No
I'm
problem.
just trying to watch the time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Do you see some power lines crossing the path right here?
Yes, I do.
Now it appears our path is doubled back, essentially, right back up the trail.
That's correct.
Do you recognize this now? I know this orients itself, so it always looks like the viewer is going in the direction to be in a general westbound position now.
Yes.
There is continuing westbound now.
Correct.
So we're coming up on a push pin. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is the time at which the last text message was sent
In the last
from April's phone.
And it was what?
It was the, I think I was almost kidnapped, that OMFG.
is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Those are the last 3 outgoing phone calls from your phone.
Those were the last 3 calls that were attempted. Yes.
Did April have the phone in her hand at that time?
I have no idea.
Your voice is up.
I'm sorry. I have no idea.
David, what was your question? I heard the answer. I didn't see.
My question is, did April have the phone in her hand when those phone calls were attempted?
Thank you, sir.
You see one additional push pin is your body location, is that correct?
That is correct.
Body location is north of the trail, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right here is the body location, is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you recognize this little trail right here to be the Liberty Trail? Do you know that or do you not know that?
I do not know that.
Time this phone is in this general area right here. 15 minutes.
Yes, it is.
see. So I want you to come a little closer so you can watch.
Like me to tell you when it's happening, or
I just want you to give a time, an approximate time. Is it give you within a few seconds? They can judge for themselves. When you start to see the phone leave that area, the circle right in the middle. Going about the time up there.
the phone begins to depart this area at approximately 6:44.
And the rate it departed, did you have anything to do with that rate?
I did not.
Going up?
Yes, it is.
To your eyes, is that the same pace as if the phone got to that departure point?
It is not.
Do you know if that tree line right there was searched?
Yes, I do.
All right, now look, right here, riding over the top of a building. Is that what you discussed earlier in terms of the data points being what they are?
They are what they are, yes. The data as it came from the phone.
southbound?
Yes, I do.
About to turn?
Your voice up.
About to turn, I'm sorry. Going southbound,
Yes.
you recognize that to be Olmo Road.
Yes, I do.
Is that the conclusion?
That is the conclusion of the animation, yes.
That's the end of the data that you had. Did you stop it for any reason?
No, I did not.
Does that correspond with the end of the data that you received?
Yes, it does.
Could we play real briefly again, because I want to clear something up. It's going to be Exhibit 13. And I don't want to play the whole thing for everybody. I just want to point out something that I saw. Okay, can you pause it there? The data in the white line, at about the midway point of this workout, maybe a little just before it, does the data change after about the midpoint in terms of speed?
Yes, it does.
In what way?
Up until just over 2 miles, it appears to be moving roughly at an average of about 3.8 miles per hour. Then after that time, it accelerates to over just around 22 miles an hour and stays at that rate of speed and actually goes a little higher as it moves along.
All right, can you keep playing, please? Everybody can see what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Did you compare this track to the animation?
Yes, I
And
did.
were they consistent?
Yes, I
Did
did.
they end in the same spot?
Yes, they did.
Begin in the same spot?
Yes.
And the path through the town of Armada, city, village, same?
Yes, it was.
Do you yourself know the names of these streets?
I do not.
Maybe the chief or somebody else would be more familiar with the street names?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I need. Thank you. Judge, one moment, please. Thank you.
Is this the time to take our lunch or what?
That's fine.
All right, put the lights on. Folks, we'll see you back at Courtroom 2. Again, please don't discuss the case. Have a good lunch. Sam.